knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Second game of doubleheader. We don't know exactly who's going to be in the lineup, and maybe you get an extended game number 1, which means tired bullpens and closers used up, which aren't available for game number 2, and maybe finding some extra shots here. But I do think the pitching matchup more susceptible, Tom, to runs here.
This is part of what we look at. Like I said, I don't expect both teams to win. So we have a pitcher who may not be sustainable at 28.6, but he's playing well right now.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, you get rid of Booker, because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high, but the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
What's up, everyone? Welcome in. This is Game Time Decisions. Adam Kaufman, thrilled to be back with you. Got you for the next 90 minutes. We got some guests on the way that will help us talk through the NBA playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs, Major League Baseball, a ton of stuff coming your way and loads of games tonight. You know, yesterday, obviously, there was so much day baseball, which honestly, I love. You know, from a personal standpoint, entertainment standpoint, betting throughout the day standpoint, baseball should start at 1 o'clock Eastern every single day. That, in a dream world, is how it would play out. Certainly on the weekend, by the way. What in the world is going on to where we don't have anything, Rob Manfred, starting before 4 o'clock Eastern on a Saturday tomorrow? That's banana land. Not the case. Tonight, however, we have everything under the lights. Everything gets started in the next little bit or later. Nothing has begun as of yet. And we have some interesting games. Again, coming off of yesterday where you saw the favorites almost universally win. Truly, it was like across the board. I think maybe one dog came out victorious with the Dodgers losing in the nightcap of that game despite a late rally. But yet the Tigers emphatically sweep their doubleheader with the Rockies. Of course, Colorado continues to be a punching bag for all of Major League Baseball. And how do you not attack them again tonight? Some interesting games on the slate when it comes to MLB. Of course, the Tigers, who are part of the early game, I think we need to go right back to them. I know there's no value in taking them in the range of minus 300 on the money line. So if you're going to do it with Detroit in this contest, you got to look toward the run line. Even that is pretty juiced in the neighborhood of minus 130 in this game at home against the Texas Rangers, who are very up and down. As we know, the Rangers 18-20, kind of perfectly mediocre. The Tigers surprising a lot of people, obviously, with their 25-13 start, and the offense has certainly come alive. But again, Colorado has been a punching bag for all of baseball with very rare exception. I think still just 6 wins, but we'll get into that in just a moment. As far as Detroit goes, though, the offense is humming. Skubal's on the mound as well. He's pitching great, sub-3 ERA. He's having himself a very, very good season. I realize it's Patrick Corbin on the other side who has been good in his own right. So maybe you want to look toward the under in this game. That's fine. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I'm probably not too interested in the total in this game in general, although the first inning Nerfy at right around minus 135, minus 140 with the boosts that are available to you on FanDuel. That might be one of the games to actually consider. I think we could get off to a little bit of a slow start offensively in that game. But ultimately, and I know a lot of people just fundamentally don't like to do this with baseball teams, going for the run line when a team is the home team, knowing that you could be losing the ninth inning at bat. I get it. It's just Detroit is clicking at such a high level right now. I think you need to look toward the Tigers on the run line. But look, I keep mentioning the Rockies, and do we go after them again today? I think we have to. You're going to have to wait a little while. It's later on tonight, obviously, an 8:40 Eastern start, couple hours away. But you have the San Diego Padres, who are out to a 23-13 start with, again, those Rockies at just 6-31, 4-14 at home. On the other side, Vasquez, who has been, I guess I understand sort of a lack of trust in Vasquez, but he does have a sub-4 ERA coming into this one. And Sensatella is a train wreck on the other side for the Rockies with an ERA of almost 6. So, look, I would go toward the Padres. Granted, again, this is another one that's right around minus 170, minus 175, depending on where you do your shopping. It's grown a little bit. I looked earlier, minus 166, a little bit more appealing at that point in time. But, you need to be thinking parlays, right? Do we put the Padres together on the money line, the Tigers together on the money line, skip that run line? And again, you get a good plus money number on the two of those. Just a couple of the favorites that you should consider that we can talk about a little bit later on. And of course, in the case of the Tigers, since we are on when that one gets underway, we'll be able to monitor it throughout. But in terms of basketball, one game last night, we talked an awful lot about it during yesterday's show, the Timberwolves and the Warriors. And look, isn't it nice when things play out exactly as they are supposed to? I feel like every bet that we threw out to you hit last night in this game. Timberwolves covering in the first quarter. Timberwolves covering at the half. Timberwolves covering full game in what was a 117-93 win. It's not that the Warriors are a joke on the other side, but you knew, despite what we've seen from the Knicks taking 2, in Boston, or the Pacers taking 2 in Cleveland, the Nuggets shocking with 1 in OKC to split, you knew there was just no way without Steph Curry that the Warriors were going to go into Minnesota and take a second game. Any sort of, aberration of that game one, it was going to be met with the proper resistance on the other side by the Timberwolves. If there's any surprise maybe that I had, and this is not a play that I gave out yesterday, that I said, hey, you got to jump on this, it would have been Anthony Edwards. I figured he was going to bounce back and have a stronger game than his 0 for 10 start than he did in game one. Of course, scored a bunch late, landed at 23. It was actually, by all standards, the blowout contributing to this, a calmer day for Ant. 34 minutes, only took 13 attempts. He left briefly with an ankle injury, came back, looked just fine after, had 20 points, continues to crash the boards, had 9, really filled out the box score. But Julius Randle, a double-double, 24 and 11. You got 20 off the bench from Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He was outstanding in this game in a role player capacity. And we saw for Golden State just the, like Scott Wetzel. I was on with him last night on In Game Live, and he was saying, what do you make of Steve Kerr and what he's doing with the rotation right now, and the fact that it doesn't really feel like there is one absent Steph Curry? He's playing literally every guy that is in uniform. That's what Kerr did, and I think because he was just trying to find something that worked right out of the gate. Minnesota got up by 14 by the end of the first quarter, and things just absolutely spiraled from there. Warriors tried to make a run, really never got there, outscored in every single quarter, never got dangerous in this one. You had, I guess, a relatively balanced scoring attack. Jimmy Butler, 17, Buddy Hield, 15, 18 off the bench by Jonathan Kuminga, whose prop was just 7.5. That's a guy we talked up yesterday. I laddered him up to 20 at almost 27-1 odds, and he damn near got there if he hadn't missed 3 free throws. So that was another guy. We were shouting him out. You could have taken him to 10, to 15, and so on, and he was out there cashing tickets for you. But there was an inevitability to Minnesota going out and winning that game as emphatically as it did, and the lack of answers. We saw the report for Golden State that Steph Curry, best case scenario, returns for Game 6 in this series. And I got news for you. There isn't going to be a Game 6 in this series. Minnesota is not going to lose the rest of the way. So we are not going to see Steph in this series. The Timberwolves, Congratulations. You have already moved on to the Western Conference Finals. You will face and ultimately lose to either OKC or Denver, where I still think we're going to get a long series out of that one. Those two teams are going to match up late night tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern, still a few hours away. We have got a game that will start during this show that I am fascinated by, and that is Indiana and Cleveland. I mentioned it. The Pacers took the first two games there in Cleveland, and look, they were relatively close, obviously, across the board. You know, in that first game, we see Indiana win by 9, a game that Cleveland had led pretty considerably early on. And then, of course, it takes a heroic three-pointer basically by Tyrese Halliburton to steal the 1-point win for the Pacers in game 2, and that puts them up. But the big news there is that Cleveland, who was down 3 of its top, arguably 5-6 players in the previous game, and Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and DeAndre Hunter are all expected to play tonight, which is incredibly significant for the Cavaliers in terms of what is essentially, I know not literally, but essentially a must-win game. We'll get to much more NBA later, but when we come back, Stanley Cup playoffs with AJ Scholz from RotoWire.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Pages. Let's get lucky.
All right, Kaufman back with you here on Game Time Decisions, and obviously a lot of baseball, a lot of NBA talk in the opening segment, plenty more of that to come as we roll on in this show. But for the next little bit, let's get into more playoff talk with the Stanley Cup playoffs as we welcome in AJ Scholz, part of the team over at RotoWire. And AJ, of course, you had two compelling games last night, Capitals evening up their second round series with the Hurricanes. It was a 3-1 win, with the empty netter there, and so a much tighter game throughout. And that one obviously is even. You get the it was late for people that stayed up, but a really entertaining, high scoring game. Went to overtime. Edmonton taken 2 on the road from the Vegas Golden Knights, who of course hoisted a cup only a couple of years ago. 5-4 win in that one. We'll get to those series, but it takes us to what we have in front of us tonight, sir. The other 2 series. Toronto in Florida, up 2-0 in that set, and Dallas is holding a 1-0 advantage in Winnipeg. So this first game gets started in Sunrise in about 15 minutes or so. And look, I don't think anybody thought that the Maple Leafs would be up 2-0 on the team that has been in the Stanley Cup final each of the last 2 years. As we know, defending champs won it last year. Does Florida answer back, hold serve tonight?
I mean, I think they have to, right? And that's what we talk about in the Stanley Cup playoffs. A lot of the time is you have to hold serve at home. You absolutely have to win games at home. Now, Toronto did their part, taking the 2-0 lead. Florida, not having home ice, they're going to have to steal one here at some point. But I think they get some pushback tonight. But in this game, I'm looking at the over. And that's because you look at the first 2 games, they've both hit over. They've both been high scoring. But Florida's been getting really like Columbus Blue Jackets version of Sergei Bobrovsky, like bad Sergei Bobrovsky. You look at his last 5 games. 4 of those games, he's had a save percentage under 900 rather. 850 is the save percentage for him across his last 5 outings. So he has looked very bad by his standards the last couple of games. So I'm gonna take the over. The risk, obviously, is that Stanley Cup winning version of Sergei Bobrovsky shows up and finally steals a game for them, and the under hits. But for me, even though you're giving up a little bit of juice, I'm getting about minus 135 in most spots. I think the over is the play in this one, but I do think Florida pushes back and gets the win. Obviously, the money line play isn't exactly there. I'm not confident enough on the puck line to win by 1.5. So I'm going to target the total. But just if you're asking me who I think is going to win, I take the Florida Panthers here.
If you're expecting an over, and I'm inclined to agree with you, who stands out on the prop market? Who's going to contribute to all this scoring tonight?
Yeah, I think number one, you have to look at Tkachuk. He comes in at plus 160. There's really good value there for him as an anytime goal scorer. I'm not sure I go all the way to the 2 points that, the value's there. A little over 2-1 to get him for over 2 points. I'm not sold on that, but I'll take Tkachuk as an anytime goal scorer. I do like Carter Verhaeghe on the points props. He's been fairly consistent for them. That comes in at minus 135. If you want to get crazy, Verhaeghe, if you can find hits for him, he's been shelling out the body. I usually find the line on Verhaeghe for hits about 2.5 to 3. He's been coming well over that as well. But a point prop, even though, again, minus 135, giving up a little juice on Carter Verhaeghe. But I like that. And then Matthew Tkachuk is the anytime goal scorer.
So I'm just playing around on FanDuel right now, as I am wont to do, looking toward builders. And, you said you're not necessarily confident in Florida with the puck line, and I get it, So in that you do expect Florida to win. And, God, I mean, we need to see an answer out of the Panthers after falling down 0-2. Granted, even if that was in Toronto, you're still down 2-0. There's a certain desperation here for the Panthers that needs to happen. If you wanted to couple Florida money line with the over, be it the full game over, you could do that at a good plus money number. It looks like right around plus 135. You could even take it down ever so slightly, save yourself a goal, do over 4.5 with the Florida money line. It's minus 130, so you do have to lay the juice. But again, you're just looking for a little less out of the offense. Either of those options appealing to you?
Absolutely love putting them together on just the total in general, just taking the money line and the total together and in that parlay. Or, maybe you money line and go with a single game parlay and do Verhaeghe on the point, or getting to Chuck to score. I think both of those are in play. But yeah, to get some value, Panthers in the over plus 145. I think that's a good spot to be in.
All right, let's talk Dallas and Winnipeg. This one starts up 9:30 Eastern. Dallas, of course, took the first game. These are two teams that had to kind of heroically get into this round in the first place. More so, of course, the stellar finish that we saw out of, I believe it was out of Winnipeg, right? I mean, really both these teams, but Winnipeg more so against St. Louis. What's the expectation here for game two? Does Winnipeg at home even this thing up?
I'll be frank. I don't know what to expect out of Winnipeg. They went into that series against the Blues, and I had them winning in 5 games. I did not think that would go 7. On the road, they've been getting really bad goaltending from Connor Hellebuyck. He's been much better at home. So this is a game at home. I think you can take at minus 140. I think you can take the Jets money line, and I would take the under. Just again, Hellebuyck, has been playing much better at home. So the fact that it is in Winnipeg, I think you can take the under. Comes in at plus 110 there. So I do expect the Jets to push back and get the win in this one.
We've got AJ Scholes hanging out with us from RotoWire talking about the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll keep him around for another few minutes after our break, too, so we can explore those other 2 series that, of course, advanced on last night and got that much more interesting. We were chatting a little off the air about how it has been since 1993 since we have seen a Canadian team hoist the Stanley Cup. You know, is this going to be the year? Is this a year that we can actually buy in on, whether it's Edmonton, obviously trying to get back to the Stanley Cup final, but Toronto, can the Maple Leafs not flame out? We'll be back.
Vegas knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Is Steve Kerr coming back? They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star 3 trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they played. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
AJ Scholes hanging out with us. We're talking about the Stanley Cup playoffs. AJ, of course, on Twitter at AJ Scholes24. He is an NHL editor for RotoWire and co-hosts the Puckcast show with Paul Bruno as well. So, AJ, we were talking about the games happening tonight in the NHL. A little more on what we saw last night versus where it's going here as the bracket continues to unfold, obviously, in the NHL. Starting out with the Capitals and the Hurricanes, Washington gets the very important win at home to split the first two games. So effectively, it is now obviously a best of 5, but Washington has lost home ice advantage for all intents and purposes as it stands right now. Surprise that we're even 1-1. Did you feel that Carolina was, sort of over the top, the right side coming into the series, or is this about right?
I think it's about right. If you looked at the odds before that game 1, even though it's in Washington, they had the better record during the regular season. They were the underdogs in that game 1 matchup, at least according to the odds makers. So not totally surprising. You brought up, Adam, at the top that this, yes, it was a 3-1 win in game 2, but effectively this was another 2-1 game. Both these have been really tight, really close. So I do think it's basically a coin toss. What I would hammer in this series is the under. If you look at the numbers, these have been the 2 best defensive teams in the postseason. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of goals here. Hammer the under the rest of the way. I did it last night. That obviously worked out in the 3-1 there. I just don't see how we're going to get a ton of goals. Having said that, this Carolina team is just really deep. You look at the roster, it's not impressive. You don't have like an Ovechkin level guy that some of these others, but you've got Svechnikov, Aho. The blue line is kind of underwhelming, but there's plenty of talent there. Brent Burns is still quality, even being on the backside of his career. Freddie Anderson, same thing. They're just a solidly built team that is going to be hard for anybody to beat and anybody to put goals in on.
That said, I want to go the other way when it comes to the Oilers and the Golden Knights. I'm surprised, for one, that Edmonton is up 2-0, not because of the talent, only just because it's, Vegas it's a tough place to play. That's a really hard environment to win in, especially in the playoffs. We've seen that over the years since that team entered the league and has had great success, obviously. But, I would have figured a split. But more than anything else, the thing that I want to continue to invest in is the over. I'm all about the goal scoring in this series. There's too much talent on both sides to go and expect, 2-1, 3-1 games, that type of thing. That's what I would like to continue to ride. You're hammering unders on the other series. Do we go overs on this series?
Absolutely. 100%. The thing is, everybody's talking about Calvin Pickard, like he's putting together these fantastic games and, oh my gosh, he's 6-0. And that's true. He is 6-0, but he still gave up 4 goals in that game 2 matchup. His offense had to bail him out. He gave up 2 in game 1. You look at the other ones in the first series, he's giving up a lot of goals and just getting the necessary saves at the right time, getting help from his offense. So it's not like he's playing lights out hockey right now. And so they're going to, have to rely on their offense to get goals. Vegas is certainly capable. They have they've got a Eichel, they've got Stone, plenty of players that can put points on the board. And so, just the tale of 2 series here. You've got one, hammer the under, the other, hammer the over. Absolutely.
Anything evolved early on here in round 2 in your thought process when it comes to looking ahead to who ultimately is going to lift the Stanley Cup? Is one team, we were talking just before the break about the fact that we haven't seen a Canadian team do it, obviously, in decades. Is this the year? Is there another team you'd want to buy in on right now?
The thing is, you've got it perfectly aligned. You've got the potential where the Western Conference, Winnipeg's down 1, but potentially the Western Conference could be Canada on Canada in the finals. Toronto is up 2-0. So certainly it looks like it could be a year for a Canadian team. Before the playoffs started, I was in on the Jets. They have the best goaltender, at least in the regular season. We haven't necessarily seen Connor Hellebuyck at that level in the playoffs, but I'm still on the Jets. Until they lose, I'm going to keep riding that. And so for me, double down. You're getting better value. They're plus 15, plus 1,600 now. So put another couple on the Jets, in my opinion.
AJ Schultz from RotoWire. He's on Twitter once again at AJ Schultz24. AJ, thanks, bud.
knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better, and they can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 points live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back. Hour number 2, Game Time Decisions. Our thanks once again to AJ Scholes from RotoWire. Just a quick update from Major League Baseball. Few games are underway. Braves Pirates scoreless second inning. I told you to take the Nerfy, the no-run first inning between the Rangers and Tigers. That one is scoreless bottom 2. Now I need Detroit to absolutely unload, however. And the Cardinals, they are still hitting up 2-0 already in the top of the first in Washington, and 2 men on and 1 down, and trying to add more, so we will see. But let's get to some NBA with our good friend, Coach James Young, who, of course, is on Twitter at CoachYoungNJ. He is our lead basketball analyst here at SportsGrid, hosts the Betting Above the Rim podcast. We're going to have to give him less work just to shorten his resume every time that he comes on. Coach, the big news in this first game in the NBA tonight is the dudes are in for the Cavs. Hunter, Mobley, Garland, all of them are going to play. The Cavs have gone from 1-point dogs at open to now 4.5, 5-point favorites. Does Cleveland cut the deficit in half?
They better. They absolutely better. And listen, AK, we saw the line movement earlier in the day. So once we knew that shoot era was happening, those guys participated. They gave you a pretty good look. Also, let's be honest, their backs are against the wall. So as you start digging in, like, where do you think you can find value? I'm going to just keep it right where I like it. And that's a team total over 112.5. I got it in early for Indiana. Over 9 out of the last 10 games, 5 straight versus Cleveland, even when they played against all these guys. One outlier, I think it was like a 108-93 win or something like that earlier in the year. Listen, Indiana's going to do what they do. And I think if you look across the way and you see a guy with a banged-up ankle and a banged-up toe, I'm trying to run with you even more. Over 112.5 tonight for the Indiana Pacers.
Coach, we were reading each other's mail, as Cam Stewart likes to say, when it comes to Jonathan Kuminga yesterday in that game for the Warriors. His prop line was 7.5. I laddered him up to 20 at almost 27-1, and he damn near got there. Finished at 18. He missed 3 free throws. It was infuriating. I bring that up because we need to look at the prop market when it comes to the Cavaliers. When you have 3 guys that are coming back in who are unavailable for game 2, that are 3 of your top, 5, 6 players, then what does that mean? Mobley returned. Do we look to unders for Jared Allen? With Hunter and Garland back, do we look to unders for Max Strus? What's the right way to approach this?
Well, to me, I think that you got to look where guys look. So, right, so Mobley affects Allen. Yes, Garland can affect Strus, but the fact that Indiana is so porous defending the three-point line, I'm sticking with Max Strus. Obviously, a big game in the last game, hitting, I think, 5 threes. Yeah, you look at it over, I think it was 6 out of his last 8 games. But then if even you look at it head-to-head, he's gone over this 2 of the last 3 games versus Indiana, a team that struggles to defend the three-point line, and maybe they need Max's shooting if I think that Indiana's going to score. So I'm going to go over 2.5 made threes for Max Strus tonight.
Interesting. Anything on the Indy side that jumps out? Is Halliburton more aggressive offensively?
I'm looking at Pascal Siakam, and there's different ways you can look at Siakam. I'm looking at his rebounds plus assists at 9.5, over 7 out of the last 11 games, 7 out of 9 versus Cleveland. And if you look at it, right, AKA, if you want to get out and run, well, there's a guy that can get the rebound and lead the break himself. And if Halliburton takes on more of a scoring role, your secondary ball handler is actually a point forward, and Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam over 9.5 rebounds plus assists tonight.
Coach, the nightcap here features the Thunder in Denver at Mile High this time around. 2 really interesting games in Oklahoma City where the Thunder effectively coached themselves out of winning game 1 with all the intentionally fouling up by 3 late in that contest. Started it too early and ultimately it bit them in the behind. They lose that one. They answer back by winning by about 95 points, however, and Jokic fouls out in the third quarter of game 2. So it's 1-1 going to Denver against a team that, of course, won a title only a couple of years back. OKC, no surprise, is the road favorite. It was 4.5. It's climbed to 5.5, 6 even in some places. Does Denver, with the points, make the most sense here?
The one that makes the most sense to me, and people think I'm crazy, I'm going under in this game. Now, you look at the first 2 games and you say, well, they went over. Well, let's think back. Monster comeback by Denver in the game 1, including basically a buzzer beater, right? Then you look at game 2, 149 points by OKC. Denver's going to tighten the screws, but if you dig back a little bit deeper than that, the previous 5 games before this series started, OKC under 232.5. Denver 6 out of 7. I think Denver, even though they're at home, they want to slow the game down because they want to go inside the Joker and play through him. I like under 232.5 in the game tonight.
Coach, if it were me or you, Joker had a career game in game 2, but by his standards, very meh, as like I said, he fouled out in the third quarter. Is this a response game? Do we look to his over in any particular category or string them all together, points, rebounds, assists?
I think you get a bounce back. You can just go get a triple-double. I think it's a plus 120, plus 125. Make sure, folks, you shop around. I think that's where I'm looking at if I go with Joker. But if I'm going at Joker, well, what should Oklahoma City do? That's go inside to Isaiah Hartenstein. You worry about everyone else, right, on that Oklahoma City roster. And Isaiah Hartenstein's sneaky, over 10.5 points, hit 3 straight games, 4-5 versus Denver. If you're Mark Dagnall, right, you want to make the Joker work on the other end of the floor. I'm not saying this guy Hartenstein gets you 20, but I think he can give you 11. Isaiah Hartenstein over 10.5 points tonight.
Interesting. All right, early look for anybody that missed it yesterday when you and I were sitting here bickering. The Celtics, the Knicks, it's absurd that Adam Silver has scheduled this game for 3:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday. But nevertheless, that's what we have as Boston in a pseudo must-win situation. At least that's what history would tell you, having to go to New York down 2-0 in this series. Teams that dropped the first 2 games at home of a best-of-7 in the playoffs, going back on Basketball Reference to when this data began in the early 80s, at least, as far back as we can track all of these series, 4-24. But what that graphic on the screen is showing you is that for teams to come all the way back and win in advance, they have to win not only games 3, but 4 as well. They have to even the series. You even make it 3-1, you split going back home. History says you lose. Does Boston answer back in game 3?
I think they answer back in game 3. And here's the way I'll look at it. If the Knicks win, the series is over. If Boston wins big, New York has to have doubt in their mind because they got to figure the only way they can beat them if they steal it, right? If it's a close game, I think New York has a better chance of winning the series. Here's the crazy thing. I think there's points tomorrow. It's 205. And if you really think about it, Adam, like really think about it, Boston is not shot well from three. I think they're going to relax on the road. But New York had their worst offensive performance of the season according to metrics in game 2. Both teams play better over 205. By the way, the reason why the game's at 3:30 is I don't know if you want to put that game at 8 o'clock in New York City. They're already going to be inebriated every spot, including the best spot to go to, Versa Restaurant on 35th Street. Go check it out. Have a couple of cold ones. You may run into Latrell's Field there before the game, and go see the Knicks game tomorrow at 3:30. Just don't be late.
Checks in the mail to Coach, evidently. I thought you were going to say it's on at 3:30 so that you don't have to stay up late watching it. Coach is on Twitter, Coach Young NJ. Thanks, buddy. Good luck tonight.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Our thanks once again to Coach James Young. A lot of good NBA talk with him. We are not done with that, or hockey, or baseball. In fact, it's a smorgasbord with a man who I've been on with quite a bit this week, who follows this program with In-Game Live Game Day. That is Scott Wetzel. Scott, welcome to the program, man. Good to see you. I'm sure the betting day is underway for you. Most things, of course, have yet to begin, although we do have a few baseball games that are underway. To update people, still scoreless, bottom two, Braves, Pirates. Tigers have taken a 1-0 lead, bottom third in that one against the Rangers. Cardinals. It's still 2-0 in DC against the Nationals. That one is top two. And the Brewers early on a 1-0 lead against the Rays. That one is going to the bottom of the first. Hopefully people played the Yerfie, the yes-run first inning in that one. Cubs Mets just underway. Phillies Guardians as well. Both those games are scoreless. So let's jump right into your baseball betting card here. Any of those games that are underway that you were on going in?
Not so much going in, more so the later games. I generally, work in game live. I kind of like tell myself, all right, we'll just go from scratch on the early contest. This way, I kind of follow along on the show and be legit and try not to have too much. I will say this: I did have a little play on the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'll correct myself, only because it was the manager getting fired. So we got the coaches fired system in play. Not great in baseball, Adam. It is better in college sports. It's better in the NBA. It's terrific in hockey, football to a certain extent. Baseball is the least, but it's a system is a system, and that is you bet on the team that fired their manager / head coach the previous day or the first game since they did it, and that is the Pittsburgh Pirates scoreless in the bottom of the second against the Atlanta Braves. So they were getting plus 125 today. I thought they were a halfway decent play anyway.
I know you like the Padres tonight, but everybody likes the Padres tonight, right? Because we would invest in the Bad News Bears playing against the Colorado Rockies. That's how ugly it has been for the Rockies, who have only 6 wins to go along with 31 losses, swept in a doubleheader yesterday by Detroit, obviously. But the Padres, there's a lot of juice there. You're looking at it on the screen, minus 172. I guess the question is, do you like them enough to take them on the run line?
Yeah, I would. I'd even like the 172. If that Padre team were the LA Dodgers or the New York Yankees, they would be 2-1 favorites easily. I think you're actually getting a discount when you really think about it, how bad San Diego or how bad Colorado is. I figured it out. You said their record. So if you just go 6-31, 6-31, 6-31, 6-31, for the rest of the season, they are on pace, Adam. I got it here. They're on pace for a 26-134, which would add up to 160 games. So throw on 2 more losses or 1 more win if you want. But they're on pace for a 26-win season. Think about how bad the White Sox were last year. They still won 41 games. So they're like on pace to obliterate that record. So now I get in San Diego, one of the best teams in all of baseball, fighting the Dodgers, 2 games back in the win column for first place in the NL West, and I'm getting them a minus 170? San Diego's playing terrific, 6-2 their last 8. Colorado at home, you may say, doesn't matter. They're 1-8 their last 9 home games. They're 3-20 their last 3 games. They've lost 6 in a row overall. Worst record, as you said, in baseball. I will gladly lay only 160, 170 with, you're right, the Bad News Bears against Colorado. But we got the Padres.
Well, I was with you on your show with Dave Sharapan a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, and you guys threw me the hypothetical of, all right, Colorado over/under win total. I think you said like 45.5, something like that. Which way would you go? And we had a similar conversation at that point of just projecting ahead with the math. And I think maybe they had won 5 games. Now it's 6, but still they were pacing for somewhere in the vicinity of 30. It was, how in the world do you possibly invest in the over, as low a number as that is? And Colorado just continues to be, free money for people on the whole that are attacking them, no matter what the juice is, obviously. But as we continue to look around, obviously, Major League Baseball, that's one heavy favorite. There's another that's, a little bit closer to a pick'em situation, and that is the San Francisco Giants are playing tonight in Minnesota. Giants are narrowly favored, but you're looking in the vicinity, minus 110, minus 120. This one, I don't know. I respect that you took a side. I almost want to just go over 8.5 because we have 2 lousy pitchers on the mound between Hicks and Paddock, who have ERAs right around 6.
Yeah, and this is an anti-Paddock play more than anything. Not only is he 0-3 with an ERA, as you said, right around 6. The Twins are 1-6 in his 7 starts this year, and I love looking not just at the pitcher's win-loss record, especially now because a lot of these pitchers are only going 4 or 5, maybe 6 innings at him. So look at the team's record, and they don't win when this guy pitches, and for good reason. He's awful. Giants 5-1 their last 6. Twins have won 6 straight at home, 5 straight overall. So they're playing well. They're playing much better. But with that ERA, you're right. The over might be the play, or even a San Francisco team total over. But for our purposes, I'll take the Giants and pick them. They're pretty good. 12-4, by the way, Giants over on the road this season.
Scott, I don't want people to think that you're just a favorites better. That is far from the case, and you are proving it with this next play here. Cincinnati in Houston. The Astros minus 200 favorites. They have Hunter Brown on the mound, who is 5-1 this year with a 1.67 ERA. He has been great. The team has been, mediocre, but great when he pitches, obviously. And yet it's Cincinnati. 500 on the road with a very up and down Nick Martinez on the mound that you are backing tonight. The question is why?
Why, right? Well, what possible angle could we have, right? I have two, one better than the other. You said it. Cincinnati 1-5 their last 6. Houston 5-1 their last 6. Completely going in the wrong direction, right? Hunter Brown on the hill. I'll say this. Here's one angle. Hunter Brown, his worst start of the season. Last time out, gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. Still very good pitching this year. Here's the main angle, Adam. Cincinnati has beaten the Astros 9 straight times. Does it mean they're going to win tonight? No, but if you want a live dog, you can't lay 2-1 on all these games. You beat a team 9 straight. They don't play too often, obviously, but I'll take Cincinnati. And real quick, I'll throw it out there before we get to the other stuff over the break. I'll take Baltimore, or I'll take the Angels as well. Baltimore 1-10 their last 11 road games. They have no business, Adam, being a road favorite over anybody. Give me the Angels tonight at home.
Trends are our friends until they're not with respect to that 9-game winning streak that you mentioned. And Sagano on the mound for Baltimore. I've seen a lot of people on the over for his outs tonight. Something to consider as well. We'll be back more with Scott on the other side.
Knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler. And they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better, and they can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Scott Wetzel's here with us, host and analyst here on SportsGrid, on Twitter at Opposite Picks. We've been talking some baseball. We're going to get to some basketball, but first the hockey. We spent some time with AJ Scholes earlier previewing this Game 3 in Florida between the defending champion Panthers and sort of Toronto Maple Leafs, who of course took home heading to Florida and now are really putting the Panthers up against a wall. This game is only about 7 minutes in to the opening period, and Toronto up 2-0 already. Matt Nees with a goal and Jonathan Tavares with a goal in this one. I guess just to start here, Scott, I mean, there were a lot of people that were all about Florida answering back in this game in particular tonight. I think a lot of people like the overs, so that is on track. But in terms of Toronto leading this game 2-0 early, how surprised are you?
Little bit, but not completely. I told the guys on the podcast, I was real tempted to take Toronto today. Really was. This is one of those situations. This happens to me, Adam. I don't know if it happens to you or not, but you make futures bets, and I had Florida go into the finals. And because of that, I said, well, if that's the case, then they got to win tonight. So let's if you're going to bet the game, then let's bet Florida. Had I not had that futures bet, I was telling the guys, you know what? They have no business being a plus or a minus 225, 235 favorite. I mean, that is a crazy number for a playoff game. I get it. They have to win. But you know what? They had to win game 2. They had to win game 1. It's the postseason. A little extra emphasis, yeah, but they shouldn't have been a minus 225 or so favorite. But I said, all right, you know what? I ended up telling the guys to take the Florida in the regulation line, which was only minus 150. I was not going to lay minus 225. But again, I said, if we didn't have that bet, Toronto was a live dog today, and lo and behold, I kicked myself because they're up 2-0. And again, if I didn't have the futures bet, then I would have bet Toronto tonight. I would have taken a flyer on that. But no sense betting against yourself, right?
There are a lot of people that like to recite, a 2-0 or 2-goal lead in hockey is the most dangerous lead you can have, yada, yada, yada. But let me ask you this. If you didn't want to invest in-game in Florida right around plus 180 on the money line, would you be interested at the, albeit juiced to minus 130, Florida plus 1.5?
Listen, if they're going to get within 1.5, then they're going to tie the game somewhere along the line. So you might as well take just to find, the big number, 1 plus 86. Because if they end up scoring, because when they were down 1-0, it was even money. So if they score the next goal, make it 2-1, it'll be pick-up. So now you got Florida plus, 186 on one side. Then you can hedge with Toronto and pick them on the other side. I'd rather do that. And I got this thing, Adam, about laying money on losing teams. Right? I mean, you're getting plus 1.5, but it's minus 130. I'm laying juice on a team that's trailing. I mean, I get it. I'm getting a goal and a half, but there's a little thing there that just doesn't allow me to do that very easily. So I'll take the plus 186, hope they score the next goal, and then if you want to hedge, you can hedge on Toronto.
What do you like in Dallas-Winnipeg tonight?
That one I am going to go against the grain. And I think most people figure the same thing. All right, Winnipeg's down 1-0. They're at home. They can't lose game 2, right? Blah, 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 blah. They have to win. The famous bettor's words. I'll take Dallas plus the 115. Connor Hellebuck has just not been good this postseason. He's played better at home. He has. I'll grant you that. And this is a home game. But ultimately, we've yet to really see that great 30-35 save. He did beat St. Louis 2-1 one game, but that's really the only game where Hellebuck has shown his true colors because he's a very good goaltender. He is. But we haven't seen it in 7-8 playoff games, and I don't think we're going to see it again tonight. There is all the pressure on the world. If you don't think the guy can handle pressure, which means he hasn't played well in the postseason, and he hasn't, he has a losing record, you talk about mounting pressure now when they're down 1-0. I'll gladly take Dallas plus the 115 to win on the road.
NBA playoffs, we got a game starting in just a couple of minutes. The Cavaliers, of course, are in Indiana against the Pacers. Dropped 2 games at home to open up that series. Now we're getting healthier. By the way, Florida just scored 2-1 game. So you are right, minus 106 on the money line for the Panthers in that one. A lot of goals in this contest. But Cleveland, do they cut the deficit in half, or does Indy take a commanding lead of this series?
I think Indiana can win. I didn't have the guts to pull the trigger on Indiana, but I like the over in both these games. The first one and the second one. The first one, Cleveland, Indiana, is all the way up to 230, maybe even 231 in some circles I saw. Earlier today was 228. Strong overs, 11-5 over their last 16 meetings. Same thing with Denver, OKC. Both strong over teams. We haven't seen any signs of defense. Denver's going to come out flying after they played so poorly in game 2. So I think we're going to get points out of them. I think we get both overs tonight.
Alexander Barkov, by the way, with that goal for Florida to again make it 2-1 Toronto, about 12 minutes and change to go in the opening period. Our thanks to Scott Wetzel. I'll talk to him again a little bit later on In-Game Live. Thanks, sir.
knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Thanks once again to Scott Wetzel. Make sure you check him out with our, well, not quite next guest, our guest after that, our final guest of the program, Dave Sharapan. Those two guys will have you for a couple hours tonight, in-game live game day. If you're not tired of me, I will join them in a couple hours, so that'll be fun as well for a segment. Check in on the NBA at that point in time. Let's get into some baseball. So here's what's up right now. Top 4, Pirates, 1-0 lead at home against the Braves. Tigers just tacked on another. They are leading 2-0 at home against the Rangers. Again, bottom 4 in that one. Top 3, Cardinals still holding a 2-0 lead, looking for more with a couple men on at the corners in D.C. against the Nationals. Brewers with an early 1-0 lead, top 3 in Tampa, kinda, I guess, against the Rays. The Mets, 1-0 leaders, top 2 against the Cubs at the moment. No score between the Phillies and the Guardians, and a perfect time to welcome in our next guest, Rob Donaldson. He is a partner of Underdog. Check out his YouTube channel, posts videos, loads of tweets on Twitter. Rob DFB is the handle. And I say a perfect time to welcome you on, sir, because a big play for you tonight. You, for anyone that does not know, you have 4-unit plays, 3-unit plays, 2-unit plays. You're not the conventional 1 unit across the board better. You mix it up depending on your conviction. And one of your larger plays tonight is a game that gets underway in just a few minutes. That is my beloved Red Sox. It's not why you're here, but I support it anyway. In Kansas City against the Royals at the no relation Kaufman Stadium. This game begins in a matter of minutes. So tell us, why Red Sox money line is the right side?
Well, I look at Hunter Dobbins as sort of kind of the neutral factor here against the Royals. I don't think he's going to be doing anything spectacular tonight, but you look at the other side with Michael Lorenzen and his mold, and especially the underlying numbers that he's putting up right now, kind of suggest that he could get shelled in this game. And I totally understand if you just rather take, maybe a Red Sox team total and kind of go that route, but there is a win factor that makes me kind of think that there's going to be a little bit less runs and potentially, 4 or 5 with the Red Sox on just that side. At the same time, I think Hunter Dobbins is going to be doing good enough, and I think they're going to hit Michael Lorenzen. And so I really do like the Red Sox to win this game handily.
I love when guests are on opposite sides, Rob, because it provides the listener, the viewer, the opportunity to, okay, here's column A, here's column B. Let me think for myself, make my own decision, weigh the analysis, all of that. Scott was just on with us, told us that he really likes the Angels' money line tonight, right around plus 115 at home against the Orioles. But there's an opportunity here for everyone to profit to split the difference, so to speak, you like the Orioles' first 5 run line, minus a half a run, obviously. So you like the Orioles' result for the first 5. So, they could be up, I'll just make up numbers. They could be up 2-1 at the end of 5. You win, they win the game 3-2. Scott wins. Everybody's a winner if you invested in both. But why in the first half of this game should we be investing in Baltimore?
Well, the Orioles are a bad team right now, and they're a bad team because the starting rotation is the worst in Major League Baseball. But when Sugano is on the bump, they have their best chance right out the gates to sort of build up a lead, and then hopefully that good bullpen can actually hold on to it. And on the other side, when you're coupling Sugano's start with the Orioles lineup going up against the righty, the Orioles are going to be able to get some wood on some balls because listen, they are a bad lineup when you throw a lefty at them, but when you throw a righty at them, it doesn't matter how good that righty is. They're going to be able to produce. And through the first 5 innings, I just think that's a perfect recipe for the Orioles to at least have a 1-run advantage by the end of it there.
So for anyone wondering, those are Rob's 2 favorite plays. Red Sox money line, Orioles first 5 run line. Those are each 4-unit plays. But if we take it down a little bit, if we go a rung below to the 3-unit plays, this is one that caught my eye in particular because I want to continue to attack runs in Sacramento. And we have the Yankees and the Athletics matching up late night. This game starts 10:05 Eastern, and you like the over 5.5 first 5 total in this game. What is it about the first 5 versus going after the whole game?
Sure. I think the Yankees bullpen in particular this year has kind of been really maligned because Devin Williams hasn't panned out great. Luke Weaver moving in the closer spot has had his issues, and now they're trying to kind of figure it out with a pretty talented group. I think under that scrutiny, they're going to be able to perform well on the back end. So that kind of eliminates, my angle on just taking the full game, notably just kind of not wanting to go against a Yankees pen that I think is going to show some improvement. But when you're looking at Oswaldo Badu and you're also looking at Will Warren, these are pitchers that you want to be on the opposite sides of. And in particular, Will Warren, because he's only really in this starting rotation because the Yankees don't have anybody else. Marcus Stroman got hurt. Luis Gil's hurt. Obviously, Garrett Cole's missing time. And Carlos Carrasco did not work out whatsoever. And so now they have a triple, A player pitching in their starting rotation. And I really do think that the A's are going to be able to lead the way in this one. But I think both teams are going to be able to contribute at least 3 runs on the board here.
What do you like in the prop market in this game?
Yeah, a very interesting one because Nick Kurtz is actually hitting the ball extremely well right now. And when you're looking at his stat column, you're going to notice an absence of a home run. And, eventually these guys do luck into one, especially against the right kind of pitcher on the right kind of day in the right kind of stadium. And I do feel like Kurtz could go yard tonight. And even if he doesn't, I really do think he's going to be able to contribute. And so over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs, I think is a very solid look at Nick.
Anything else jumping out to you tonight among the games that have yet to begin?
I look at Matt Chapman going up against Chris Paddock and the Minnesota Twins, and this is another guy who's stinging baseballs right now. If you do want to throw a home run and maybe like a home run parlay or round robin or just take one solo, I think he's going to be a really good candidate to go yard tonight.
Anything, we've got you for a couple more minutes here. Anything that, you are starting to, we're sitting here, ballpark, almost a quarter of the way into the baseball season now. Any trends that you're starting to really lean in on, whether it's, throughout these first couple of months or just even the recency bias of it, teams that are riding a win streak and you like them to keep rolling, or teams that are really struggling that you think are going to, continue to struggle, obviously. Like there are a lot of people that'll just blindly bet against Colorado right now and are perfectly happy closing their eyes and doing so. It was incredibly profitable betting on the Tigers over the last couple of days. People are right back to going with the Padres tonight on the other side of that one. Do you feed into that at all?
I wouldn't necessarily fade the bottom because that's the hardest area to find bottom in terms of fading them. I would actually look to take them at some kind of plus 2.5 run line type prices or plus 1.5 through the first 5 innings, if anything. But if you want to hitch your wagons to a team that I really think is about to turn it up, I look at the Washington Nationals. Regardless of how their starting rotation does, I think this is going to be an offense that actually starts to produce sooner rather than later. We'll see what happens tonight, but I think ultimately this is a lineup that can actually hit a lot of right-handers. So if you see a right-hander on the bump going up against them, hey, take their team total over. I think you're going to get lucky.
I mentioned the Tigers are out to a 2-0 lead, and Skubal is pitching awesome. Already has 7 strikeouts in 4+ innings. He's been outstanding. I don't know how many people, it's not like they're running away by any means, but I don't know how many people coming into the year were all about Detroit winning the AL Central. And right now, a 2.5 game lead on both Cleveland and Kansas City. Is this sustainable in your mind, what the Tigers are doing right now?
I think it's absolutely sustainable. The bullpen is there. The starting rotation can be there. I think it's kind of in the middle. And this is a lineup that I think is deep enough to continue to perform even when guys are slumping. And yeah, you mentioned Tariq Skubal. It helps when you have a Cy Young candidate on the bump, taking it every single 5 days. And right now, the Rangers do not have a hit. So knock on wood, but I had to throw that out there.
He's just trying to jinx him. He's inadvertently telling you he's on the other side. He's got Rangers money line. We didn't talk about it, but it's on his card, and he's just trying to send a jinx Skubal's way. I get it. I would do the same thing. Rob Donaldson, again, he is on Twitter, Rob DFB, and a partner of Underdog. Check out his YouTube channel. Rob, thank you, sir.
Vegas knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star 3 trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they played. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, we have our final guest of the show, but he is not last due to any sort of reputation, unless it's saving the best for last, right? Don't tell the others I said that. He's coming up with one of our other guests, Scott Wetzel, who was on a little earlier. These guys will have you for a couple hours on in-game live game day coming up after this show and for the next 2. But Dave Sharapan joins us. We missed him yesterday, had him on obviously earlier in the week here. And it's so perfect, too, because I was just talking to Rob Donaldson about how I need the Braves to wake up. And, of course, Sharapan, fate. Dude shows up full Pittsburgh garb, or he's dressed like the man with the yellow hat from Curious George, somewhere in between. I don't know. Your Pirates are up 1-0 against the Braves right now, top 5. Just need Atlanta to maybe string together a couple of hits. How you feeling, buddy?
It's good. Good to see you. Yes, I didn't know you had the Braves. It's the Pittsburgh Pirates City Connect that they're wearing actually today in Pittsburgh. It's a new era. They fired the manager. I'll be on with Wetzel later. You know, Wetzel has a zillion different betting methods, theories. I don't know what you want to call them. The book of Wetzel's. And it's play on the team that the coach got fired, the next game. So this is a play on the Pirates. We'll be talking about that. The P stands for the Panthers as well. I thought the Panthers were the side. They trailed the Maple Leafs 2-0. And then I wanted to ask you, is it another P for the Pacers? Is it, I thought Cleveland was going to win game 2. I really, really did. And I looked at this tonight. I just told Scott in the pre-production meeting. He asked me what I was thinking. I said, Cleveland's got to win tonight. Did you see the line move? Did you see the steam? But it's in Indiana. What did you think about this game?
All right. Well, first, in the spirit of P being for Panthers as well, you'll be happy to know it's 2-1 now. So Florida is fighting back in that one. About 4 minutes to go in the opening period. Look, for me, this is very much sort of personnel dependent, which I think is fair in anyone's analysis this time of year. I thought the Pacers were going to win game 2, in large part because of how decimated by injury Cleveland was on the other side. You mentioned the steam and the line movement in favor of the Cavaliers going from 1-point dogs to 4.5, 5-point favorites. The reason for that is because all those guys who were questionable who didn't play in game 2, Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, DeAndre Hunter, they're all in. And so the Cavaliers should look themselves. I know that these guys aren't 100%. If they were, they would have been out there for game 2 as well. So they're giving it a go. It's desperate times for the Cavs. You can't. It's not a literal must win, but you can't fall down 0-3, obviously, and expect to win this series. It just doesn't happen. That said, I do like Cleveland tonight. I like the Pacers to win the series still, and I said that going into the series that I felt strongly about Indy. But I think tonight, playing into the narrative of health and the whole backs up against the wall kind of thing, I don't know if I necessarily would want to lay the points. We've seen some close games in this series already. But, if I'm talking about money line parlay or something like that with another favorite that I like across baseball or, somewhere else, I do like Cleveland to win the game.
Okay. I'm thinking under in that game. OKC and Denver, man, I loved everything about OKC in game 2. First half, first quarter, game, everything. It worked out perfect. One of the easiest bets I've made in the past month and a half. But now you look this tonight and you go, can't be this easy. My spider sense is tingling tonight, Adam. It's a Denver look. Haven't done a damn thing yet with the game. Probably keep an eye on it, although I know I'll be watching the hockey later too because had one of the best wins ever on an under last game, Dallas-Winnipeg. 0-0 after 1, 3-2 after 2, 0-0 in the third period. It stays under 5.5. Absolute miracle.
What a
great.
miracle.
Had it all away.
What a miracle. Yeah. That's awesome.
Basketball.
Yeah,
I
think that
under?
OKC Denver, this is another one, and I'm talking into the series more so than specifically tonight. I think I have respect for Jokic and for the Nuggets that, I have a hard time believing that it's not going to be a long series. I think that it's much more, not that I expect, game 1 to play itself out again, but I think game 1 was much more representative of what we're going to see in this series than game 2.
Yes.
I don't think the Thunder just effortlessly roll the rest of the way. I think we get some competitive games, and I don't think Denver's done winning yet. Does OKC win the series? Probably, but I'm not going to be at all surprised if it's Denver. So for me, It's more just the expectation that we get a 6-7 game series. And honestly, I hope we do, because I believe, and I don't know if you feel this way, I don't know who's winning the championship this year. A lot of that is going to depend, in my mind, upon whether or not Boston can actually figure this out against New York. But independent of that, I think whoever it is that comes out of the West, it's coming out of that series. You know, like, love you mean it, Minnesota, and Golden State's not going to be healthy enough to beat the Timberwolves, but it's OKC or it's Denver that ultimately is in the NBA Finals and maybe even winning the championship.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I think it's OKC. The way everything's setting up, I think OKC is going to do it, get to the finals. I was going to ask you on the way out, how you feeling today after, the Knicks are up 2-0, big game tomorrow, not in Boston, in Madison Square Garden, and the Celtics are favored again, 5.5. I don't know how low we can make this total. I mean, I might make it, was our book, make it 199 and let them bet it over. I don't know, Adam. I don't know. I really, really don't know. The Celtics better win tomorrow. Well, all right. I don't know. We'll have to find out. That left me hanging. I don't know. Whether Adam thinks that the Celtics are going to win or not, well, we'll probably have to wait till the next segment. So I think the Celtics will win tomorrow. We'll see. Tonight, we'll be back after this here on Game Time Decisions. One more segment.
Vegas knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Welcome back. Game Time Decisions. The last shift of the night right here until we get to in-game live with me, Dave Sherapan, and Scott Wetzel. I am not Adam Kaufman, but hopefully Adam Kaufman will be here to give you a play or something on the way out. I don't know. I asked him one question about the Celtics and if they were going to win again, and he never came back. It wasn't his, I think, on purpose, but man, oh man, I don't know what I did. Listen, this basketball is going to get more fun. So pay attention. I mean, I think, what do we got? Cleveland's up big right now. 13-4. So they're up. That's fine. Adam's back. And did I hear that right? Did I hear that Adam is back? Oh, Adam,
I'm
Kaufman
here.
back
Look,
and
I
better
don't.
than-
All I know is I hear you say, "How you feeling today?" And I had to go. I couldn't cope with not one more minute of you talking to me about the Celtics and the Knicks. I was done. I was out. See you
I
later.
apologize.
Peace
So
out.
that's good. We got that out of the way.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
going to let you
Don't
close
you
the
do
show.
it again.
I'm not mentioning another thing except one game. I always ask K-Dub a question on the way out. Yankees go to not Oakland, Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. Suspiciously light on the number tonight with the Yankees.
Yeah, over.
That looks a little bit.
Over is the over to me is the play. Over. I'm just gonna continue to chase runs in Sacramento until the books adjust. You know, we had Rob Donaldson on with us a little while ago. He said over 5.5 first 5 was his play in that game. I'm perfectly comfortable attacking the full game over. His hesitancy to doing that was respect for the Yankees bullpen. I don't respect anybody in that game, most especially anyone from New York. So Boston guy here, obviously. So no, over. Over is the play for me in that game. I am expecting runs, sir. But listen, I know you got a show starting in a couple of minutes. I don't want to force you to hang on any longer, and you can't. I appreciate you holding it down for the last few minutes.
My pleasure. No problem.
All right, I'm going to talk to Dave and
Diamondbacks.
Scott. What's that?
Diamondbacks against the Dodgers. Yeah, Diamondbacks. Beat them last night. They're beating them again tonight. Throw it out.
Listen to this guy.
See ya.
Predictions on the way out the door right before he's with you for another couple hours as well on in-game live game day. Make sure, just don't, when this show ends, just don't go anywhere. Just continue to stay logged in on SportsGrid wherever you are watching or listening. And, I will disappear again, evidently, and he will reappear with Scott and those two guys. They're going to hang out with you from 8 to 10 Eastern. As long as technology cooperates, I'll pop on with them a little bit later on in that show and talk a little NBA and whatever I feel like getting into. But how about this? I said I was uncomfortable laying the number with the Cavaliers, but I did think Cleveland was going to win tonight. I realize it is early, and we have seen in this postseason, in this second round in particular, 20-point leads evaporate in the NBA like this. But even still, Cleveland is out to a 19-5 advantage in Indiana right now. It is Max Strus, of all people, with an early 8 points, 6 out of Donovan Mitchell, 4 for Jared Allen. Evan Mobley has just the 1 at the free throw line. And on the other side, 5 points out of Miles Turner. That is the entirety of that offense for the Pacers at this moment. So I guess it just becomes, is this something that we can actually depend upon? Indiana did just hit a 3, and so it is now a 19-8 game, and that is going to obviously change the live odds a little bit, but that's what I wanted to pull up for you and let you know where things stand if you did want to jump in on Indiana here in this moment. So again, 5.5 coming in right now. Cavaliers with this 11-point lead, 10.5-point favorites on the live line, and still 6.5 to go in the opening quarter of this game. So I think it's going to be obviously a high scoring one. We are absolutely trending toward that. The live total 233.5, and I'm not sure it's going to slow down with the way that these teams are shooting here early. Cleveland in particular, obviously, but this feels like I think I would jump in on Indy at plus 10.5 at this point in time. I think Cleveland wins, but I think you are getting a nice number right now on a Pacers team that, as we've seen, is incredibly capable of going on a run. So want to thank all of our guests who are part of this show. We had Rob Donaldson, Dave Sharapan, Scott Wetzel. We had James Young earlier on, AJ Scholes as well. Everybody behind the scenes, obviously. Kofsky, Roberts, Bobby, everybody involved with the program. I've had a lot of fun with you here on Game Time Decisions the last couple of days. More of these to come, hopefully, as well. And again, in-game live game day, which got to follow that. Stay tuned for that. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.